Behind me sits the all-new American-made Ariel Nomad, produced by TMI in South Boston, Virginia. Last year, I was in a similar spot with the Ariel Atom 3S. And when I saw the pictures of this car and I saw the announcement, I thought, what is the point of this? Why would any car enthusiast care about it, or exotic owner? And then I got here and I started to take a look at it. Now, by the end of this video, I'm going to try to explain to you why ATV, off-road people, truck owners, car enthusiasts, and exotic owners are gonna find a ton of charm in this. So let's take a look. Before we get started, we have to talk about this. TMI, the official manufacturer of Ariel products in the United States or North America. Currently they make the Ariel Nomad and the Ariel Atom. Now, much like the Atom, the Nomad is handmade here, and it starts like anything with raw materials. And the best part about this place is you can see everything come together, from the tubular chassis, from the raw materials, to the bending equipment, to the rotisseries where everything's welded together, to the people grinding and cutting and producing the brackets and the individual pieces in the machine shop. And then we move on to, again, the race-inspired install bays where the Nomad kind of comes together, usually by one technician. And since it's a boutique car, it's made to order. If you want little details like pink tires, which I'm sure they don't do pink tires, but whatever you want, you can see each one is individually customized. And the best part about TMI or Ariel in general is, you know, I come to these guys and I can ask straight questions. I can get to the source. Recently, I tried to ask Ford Performance a whole slew of technical questions about the Shelby GT350. I waited 3 months and got this. When you come here, if you're building a car, you talk to the people who are making it. You know exactly what's going on, why they're doing the things the way they do. You have complete control over your build process, and that's one of the beautiful things about these types of cars that you've lost in the modern era of mass production. Now that you know more than you would like about the Nomad's manufacturing process, let's talk to one of the owners about how the past year has been at TMI and Ariel since I was here last. So we are here with Mark Swain, the president of TMI Autotech. Thanks for having me back again. It's been about a year since I was here last.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome back. The first go around with the Atom was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed your time. You saw when you were here before, we were just starting to work on the Nomad, so wanted to see if you wanted to have a go at that. So Nomad's in full production right now. A lot of changes on the chassis, a lot of fun things driving it, so let's experience it all.
Absolutely. So there's just a couple questions because we don't want to burden people with all this. The Ariel Atom is a totally esoteric extreme car, and you look at the Nomad and it's like, you know, it really stands out. Now, the Atom itself has a very niche market. So who is the Nomad designed for?
The Nomad is designed for the same type of end buyer that wants to be different, that wants something very high quality, wants to be exclusive, and wants performance in a lightweight package. So that's the Nomad in a nutshell. Where it's different than the Atom, when the road gets rough, keep on going. Rough pavement, dirt, gravel, no problem. So if you've got a cabin, you want to run into there, perfect. If you want to go to dinner, you can still take it there. So it's pretty versatile. As you'll find out when you're driving it, the suspension is pretty compliant, pretty soft. So it can do long rides as well as tear up the corners pretty well.
Clearly, the Nomad is, like you said, for adventure seekers, but is the Nomad chassis just kind of like a fluffed up Ariel Atom, or what's the deal with that?
No, it's not at all. It was a long, many-year process to design a new vehicle. So the Nomad has no common chassis components from the Atom. So complete ground-up build, all done in a CAD model and CNC machining to get it to this point. So a completely different vehicle. The common factor is the exoskeleton chassis. So you can pick it out that that's an Ariel vehicle, that's our strong point, but it is something totally new and it gives a totally new driving dynamic.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to find out about that. So the first things first, let's take a look at the exterior and interior of it, and then let's go tear it up on the roads.
How about it?
All right. Much like the Ariel Atom, the Nomad is a boutique car. It's handmade, made to order. When you load it up fully like this, you get a supercharged K24 2.4 liter Honda engine that produces 300 horsepower, and you get a 6-speed manual transmission. Now it does have a limited slip differential, and it is rear wheel drive only with an hydraulic handbrake. Now if you've only seen the Nomad in photographs, it's nothing like seeing it in person. This is one of those vehicles you have to look at to really appreciate. The first thing I noticed was proportionately, it's a lot smaller than I anticipated. I just stood next to the Raptor last week and I thought, my God, I feel like a straight up chump standing next to it. This, I feel like I could be in command of, I could be in charge. It's just, its entire exoskeleton, if you want to call it that, looks like a glorified roll cage. You feel completely surrounded by metal, tubing, all of that. One of the major differences here from the Atom is the weight. And this does weigh more. It's about 1,700 pounds, and that's largely because you have a winch on the front. On the back, you have a jack. So if you're driving in a septic field and you cave it in and you get stuck, well, at least you can jack yourself up and change your tire, whatever you want to do. And then you have the spare tire on the back, along with these massive lights on the front to help you light your path at night. And it's these little things that add up the weight, but really with 300 horsepower and that type of weight, this thing still flies. And it's one of those things that you can't explain to people. When I talk about this with a lot of modern cars, you start to feel so detached from the road, so disconnected. And this brings back all those experiences, almost that open feel, the engine sound, the transmissions manual. You hear road noise, you feel everything. And that's what this car is all about. Now let's talk about the mechanicals. Some of this is a carryover from the Ariel Atom 3. Now, the differences here are pretty extreme. The whole chassis is different, obviously. You have Team Dynamics forged wheels, 15 inches, with BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. This is for mud, this is for gravel, this is what you use to tear it up. Now, of course, you can opt for an all-season tire and a different wheel if you're just gonna be driving it on the road, which I would recommend. The second thing they use is they're still using JRI dampers. Now, these are the more extreme versions with external reservoirs. It gives you more fluid capacity in the shocks for that extended travel. So this is what you'd want if you were really pounding it around, as you will see. The next thing is obviously you have the winch, you have the lighting package, and you have this acrylic side that prevents, rocks from getting into the chassis, into the inside of the car. And you have to have these fender guards. I'm gonna tell you, when you're doing donuts in this thing in gravel or you're tearing it up on gravel, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get pelted. But it really does a good job from keeping the external environment away from you. And the nice thing is you don't have to wear a helmet on the street, which is cool. Now, as I move to the side, I wanna stand here on purpose so you can get an idea of the proportions. I'm 5'9" and I feel like a beast compared to this car, which is a good thing. I'm tired of feeling tiny all the time in more ways than one. This has a cloth roof, which is nice because it keeps the sun out of your bald spot and all that. And it's something that is a nice add-on for this car that is very practical. Now, you don't have a big ass intake on the top here like you did on the Ariel 3, but there is an intake port here to get to the back of the motor. When you get to the back of the Nomad, it's all business, the way that I like. The exhaust, well, it's covered up by this cute little laser etched panel that says Nomad, just in case you forgot what you were driving. Then, of course, you get to the rear bumper, which is this steel beam that supposedly took a 60-mile-an-hour impact from a Honda Accord without literally any damage. So this thing is absolutely rugged. It is just a very interesting, unique vehicle, and I think many people are gonna really appreciate that. Let's take a look at the interior. Getting in. Oh, bro. Oh, bro. You gotta be straight up Planet of the Apes to get in this car. And let me tell you one thing, this is gonna be the biggest limiting factor of the Nomad. Ingress and egress is an absolute joke. If you're a big boy or a big girl, or you like to carry 20 pounds of ground beef with you at all times, you're gonna hate this. But the thing about it is, it's so purposeful. There's no cars that are like this, that have this level of purpose when you get on the interior. It's amazing. So once you finally get in here, what is it like? Well, I can tell you 2 words: race car. And I know that phrase has been played out by all the kids that add on some coilovers and a straight through exhaust. No, this feels like a race car. First off, I could take my steering wheel and hang it out the window when I'm driving, straight up Doug style. The second thing that you're gonna note about it is, well, it has a chrono style, or race chrono style dash, which gives you all your pertinent information. Shift lights, tachometer, temperatures, all the things you really need to know, and it gives you a fuel level in numbers. It has a toggle style turn signal. You have an ignition kill switch that you throw to on. Fuel pump comes on, you hit the ignition button. Tough as nails. All right, that's enough of that. The other things you're going to notice about the interior right away is you have a manual parking brake, centered, unlike the Atom. You have a manual transmission, which has an extremely direct linkage. A hydraulically actuated parking brake, or drift brake, or e-brake, whatever you want to call it. If you're in Panera's drive-thru and you want to straight up get through there, you just rip on this thing and you'll slide all the way through. Now, of course, there are other toggle switches here. One for wipers, one for lights, but is all functional and all purposeful. Now, you are wondering about technology at this point, and there is a bit of it in here. There is a passive proximity key fob that you have to have near the gauge cluster to start the car. So that's a big wow factor. Now, one of the biggest negative parts about the interior, aside from its cramped contents, is these bucket seats. You don't have an option for a more luxurious or more comfortable seat. It's a race bucket, and it is going to constrain you, it is going to be uncomfortable, and more than likely you're gonna have to put a pillow here to live with it every day. So I think maybe eventually if they could get an option for that, for the people that are more touring focused, that would be nice to see. Oh my God. Now that I just pulled my groin getting out, let's take this thing for a drive on the street, because let's face it, that's more important than just sitting around and talking about it. It's time to fire up the Ariel Nomad. Let's get down to business. That's absolutely certain about this car is its extreme looks match up with its extreme performance. And when I got out of the Atom 2, it had a supercharged 2-liter Honda engine, and I was a little bit disappointed with the Atom 3 going turbocharged until I got into it. And I thought, well, you know what, it's so ridiculously fast that I can live without the supercharger line. Now it's back in the Nomad. Let me take off my sunglasses here so we can get a little bit more intimate. Now the deal is they had to put a supercharger in this car for packaging. There wasn't enough room to fit all the turbo plumbing and of course cooling. It's a lot easier to cool a supercharger, and that's what they've done. The other thing about the Nomad that's interesting is the hubs, the end links, all the control arms, the tow rods are all uprated. They're more robust than they were in the Atom 3, and that's because this is an off-road machine. You know, one of my big problems with the Atom 3S was it was just so damn firm on the road that, you know, it kind of beat you up. And when you have these types of seats in a car like that, it's just really hard to deal with. But because the suspension on the Nomad is a lot more forgiving, it has a ton of, you know, obviously a ton of travel because you need to take it off-road. It's just so much more enjoyable to drive. Now, it still buzzes, it still rattles. There's no 25 pounds of isolators and rubber bushings to kind of dumb down the experience. It's still a manual steering rack. It's a non-ABS unit brake system with a manual brake, so you gotta use all your leg strength to stop it. No ABS, like I said, so when you go and jack on the brakes, yeah, that's what happens. So you have to be kind of adjusted to the idea that this car is not for everybody. Now in terms of steering feel, you know, these big mud tires are off-road tires don't do any, they don't do it any justice. The steering is really direct, but it's just so mushy because of the tires. Now, if you're driving on the street, there's an all-season tire option, and I think it would make it a lot more fun if you're not totally off-road. But I'm really impressed with how well this thing rides, just for how extreme it is. Now the issue becomes, can you keep yourself from doing that all the time? Are you going to lose your license? And I think you got to keep yourself on a leash when you're driving this car. It's unbelievably fast. It picks up so quickly. I mean, if you're downshifting it, it still revs like a Honda. It's always revving out. And even with the supercharger, it's the same behavior. That's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. The other thing about it is, well, if you go for the Alcon option, these brakes need a lot of heat to get working. So if you're pounding around on the street, you're going to want to get some heat in these brakes before you surprise yourself, and you're deep into the pedal locking up the brakes because you don't have them working yet. But that's one of the things about a performance car to this level that is really cool that you don't typically see with a lot of more Nerf sports cars. Everything works so well with this car from a performance perspective, obviously. Steering, brakes, once you get some heat into them and get used to not using ABS again, threshold braking, steering feel, having manual steering rack is amazing, and then of course having the compliance and the suspension that's not beating you up. My only problem, like I said on the interior bit, is these seats are just rock hard. You're gonna need some padding if you're driving it every day, if you're a bony son of a bitch like I am. But there's just so much good here, but it's just, again, can you keep the leash on yourself and not get yourself arrested or killed driving this? Can you accept the faults of the lack of practicality with it? And, that's gonna be up to somebody that's gonna come and take a look at this car for the first time. When a lot of people get stuck on a daily commute, they're in just ho-hum cars that are so boring that you buy for practicality purpose. Those people don't understand the joy of driving, what it's all about. And you get into a car like this, and it just clears up all those things for you. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's crazy. But this is what living and life is all about, and this is why so many people love the car experience. No weirdness with tuning with the throttle pedal, no rev hang, it just, everything works so well. I think if you ever get a chance, you get the money, you need to put this car or a car like the Atom on your short list. It's just such a special experience. Words can't describe how much it makes you feel something. And in life, where there's so many disappointments, so many ups and downs, this is one of the things that really makes you feel good inside if you're somebody that likes the motoring experience, and it may even convert you if you're not a car person. Somebody said, how can you drive this without all-wheel drive? And now that I'm out here, it's amazing how much you have to chase the rear end. All the corrections, all the throttle inputs, you have to be on your A game to drive this fast. And when it gets really dicey, you have to have good car control, and that's what makes this so much fun to operate. I'm just gonna shut up and enjoy driving this with little time I have. Oh, now that's what you call fun. My underwear's wet. I feel like I just got a septic tank sprayed out on me, but this is what you do with a car like this. And more importantly, the best thing they could possibly do out here is add a Starbucks drive-thru, because when I'm done with this, I want a latte. But the reality is, compared to the Atom, there's one thing about the Nomad. I don't have to worry about every little rock. I don't have to worry about ground clearance. I don't have to worry about any of that. I can take it anywhere and just beat the ever-loving shit out of it. And that's one of the best parts about driving this car. This isn't for everybody. I said that a lot. Getting in and out of here, not fun. A lot of it has to do with the seating design. A lot of it has to do with this upper beam. It's just a very cramped space. So you gotta get in here, you gotta drive it. And that's all there is to it. A 10-to-1, as soon as you drive it, you're gonna be smiling ear to ear, and I'm gonna be jealous when I see you driving around on the street in it, because I'll probably carjack you, bring it out here, and then leave it out here so you have to clean it. It's time to start the Ariel Nomad and see if the extreme nature of its looks follows its road manners. Oh, that's the horn.